beginning of November, the Tasmania state announced it will open its borders to New South Wales, and we were itching to travel because previously we'd actually booked a trip to New Zealand, but obviously the Trans-Tasman bubble hadn't opened yet. So Tasmania was our next best thing because we've also heard that it is like a mini New Zealand. So at the end of November, we decided to go there. And when I was researching about what to do, the Three Capes track actually had popped up. It was really well rated, and they've kind of marketed it as the only way you can visit all three capes of the Tasman peninsula by walking along the coastline there. In reality, you get to only go to two of those capes, like actually kind of stand on it. You see the third cape from a distance on the first day boat ride. I'm pretty sure that was the first cape. And yeah, so that's what we booked. So now we'll show you a map overview of the track that we hiked and also the points of interest along the way. We left Port Arthur on a boat tour to go see Cape Raoul in the distance. Unfortunately, in our earlier boat departure, we didn't get to see any dolphins or whales, but apparently the later boat departure did. We got dropped off at Denman's Cove and made our trekking journey to our first night accommodation. On the second day, we departed for Arthur's Peak, and after the ascent, it was a pretty flat 11 k's to our second night accommodation called Munro. The third day was our favourite. We ascended onto the Blade and walked to Cape Pillar shortly after. We only had to carry our day packs as we could come back and get the larger bags on our way to the third night's accommodation at Radakuna. The fourth day was definitely the most challenging as it was a very steep climb to Mount Fortescue. Then we made our way to Cape Hoy, which had so many steps to conquer. Finally, we arrived at Fortescue Bay after 14 k's and was picked up by a bus. The bus only took us about 30 minutes to get back to our starting point of Port Arthur. So what's included in that price is the actual access to walk along the track. The track is very well built and also very well thought out, so you do get lots of nice stops along the way. If you want to take a break, these story seats are a great place to relax, grab a snack, and also read about the environment that surrounds you. Maybe some history, maybe some biology. So it's really cool. It's a very nice, well thought out track, and only people who have paid are allowed to walk on certain parts of it, majority of it actually. So what else is included is accommodation in the form of bunk beds. Because of social distancing, we were really lucky to have a whole room to ourselves, but I think at full capacity it would probably house around 6 or maybe 8 bunk beds in a room, but we had a room which was 4 bunk beds. So there's no actual sleeping materials, I guess, so there's no blankets, etc. You have to bring your own sleeping bag, pillows, your own toiletries, of course. There is a full kitchen and a communal area where you can play board games and do some yoga. In those kitchen areas, you've got actual gas cooktops, rainwater tank that you have to pump in order to get the water. You've also got basic cooking utensils like pots and pans and spatulas, but in terms of your actual utensils that you eat with, you do need to bring that. So we did have to go out and buy some plastic forks, knives, plates, bowls, etc. There is one day where you can shower. So out of the 3 mountain huts that you stay in, the middle one you get to shower in. It's kind of like showering in nature, which was quite nice, but that is only a one-day luxury.
And after 2 days without a shower, you probably are grateful for anything, so
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and also there's no food included, so you do have to bring your own food. And later on in the video we'll also talk about some tips around what you should bring and maybe what you want to leave behind, because there is a policy where everything you take on the hike you also need to take out. So that means all rubbish, there are no rubbish bins, you got to take it out. So be wise in what you choose to bring.
We weren't, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
In terms of costs, so in addition to the $360 per person, unless you hike and you camp a lot, there's probably additional costs that you'd have to fork out. So we needed to buy our own sleeping bag, which ended up being about $120 per person.
It was that expensive because you had to get a temperature graded sleeping bag. So it was okay for us because we went closer to summer, so the temperatures didn't drop that low. But if you were to go in winter, I think the recommended temperature grade was like -5 degrees or something.
In addition to that, we had to bring our own multi-purpose tool. So we bought a pretty fancy one, which you probably won't need, but it had things like a can opener, scissors, a knife, just something that's pretty compact that you might need along the way. Head torches were pretty important, so we had to buy 2 of them, which ended up being about $20 to $30 per person. I mean, that's pretty important because there's no electricity in the cabins, so if you want to go to the toilet at night or you wanted to get up, it's pretty much pitch black if you didn't have a torch. We were lucky that we already had 20 to 25 litre backpacks from previous hikes, but if you don't have one of them, they'll probably set you back for a good one, about $300 to $500. And obviously the food that you bring, you'd have to pay for, which didn't end up being too much for us. We bought pretty basic stuff. And Fiona needed to buy hiking shoes as well. This is definitely not something you want to wear sneakers on. There's still going to be rocky terrain, and don't forget that you're carrying 15 to 20 kilograms on your back.
And there was a girl who was wearing Adidas or Nike sneakers, and by the 3rd day she was dead, and everyone was talking about it behind her back.
She was hating life.
Yeah. So how much in total do you reckon we spent?
Probably about 1,000 to 1,300 all up.
You might think that spending like $1,000 plus on a 3-night, 4-day hike where you're in, bunk beds and no shower is expensive. But reviews from people who are walking on the track, they do say that this is one of the most luxurious overnight tracks that you can do. So if you're a beginner to overnight mountain trekking, then this might be something for you. And then maybe you can slowly ease your way into more au natural camping and no marked terrain kind of overnight hikes. But this is definitely a great thing for beginners. So now we'll take you to some of the highlights that we've videoed and captured along the way. Then later on in the video, we will let you know about our highlights and lowlights, and also tips on packing and what you shouldn't bring. We have arrived at the Surveyors, which is first night accommodation. 5-star huts. That's how they describe this place. Does actually look pretty modern and nice. Yeah, we can stargaze today. Full sun exposure, no tall trees, just shrubs, which is a nice change from the overhanging trees and mossy rainforests. And it's just us and nature, mainly one bumblebee that's following us. Jason's mental note is not to swat anything because they might come back and take revenge, sting him.
Room again,
Ooh. We have 4 bunk beds, but we're not sharing with anyone. And now we can relax.
Oh my god, my shoulders.
Fill your bucket with hot water, transfer it to the shower bag, hoist it up and enjoy. 1 bucket per person to save water.
Nice.
Buckets.
Fill the bucket out there with hot water, and then you hoist it up, and then the water comes out the bottom.
Oh.
You can adjust how much you want. Yeah. Probably that's better.
And this must be cold rainwater. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, if I can get this door to open. Oh my god, am I stupid?
Slide.
Are they locked? Oh my god.
Slide.
Silly me.
What is it?
Day 3 of our hike. It's a bit cloudy, so we missed the sunrise this morning. But it's still early.
Still eerily beautiful.
Yeah. Look how well constructed the boardwalk is.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that. We're so close. We're so close. My guess is we're going to trek along this green patch all the way up. I don't know where we're going to stop. Maybe we get to walk a little bit up that. We're approaching the blade. So I'm just sitting here trying to mentally prepare myself for the top of this rock, basically. It's not even a hill, it's not even a mountain, it's just a piece of rock. And apparently it's only around 3 meters in width. And then on either side it's just cliff straight down into the ocean.
No barriers.
No barriers, no fences. And I'm really scared of heights, so I'm gonna do it, but Jesus Christ, I'm scared. Here's Bay looking almighty. If I die today, these will be my last words. Okay, you go. You need 2 hands. You be careful, okay? Oh shit, look how narrow the steps are. Oh my god, dear Lord. Oh shit. Oh, hold on to a branch. Are you scared? Oh my god. Oh my god.
So, we're on the top of the blade and Fiona is not feeling very well. How are you feeling?
I'm just thinking about how we're just sitting on top of rocks stacked upon rocks. Literally. Like if you look around here, it's just big rocks stacked upon each other, except it goes for the full length of this rock column all the way to the ocean. And
there's, as Fiona pointed out, there's rock erosion right there.
yeah, if you see that yellow patch over there. But hopefully that's not this type of dolerite rock.
Oh shit, that looks amazing.
Ah!
Now we're gonna have lunch on top of a rock.
I don't think I can eat peacefully.
Do you want to eat somewhere else?
I think let's just take some photos and then eat.
Alright.
Yeah. Careful. Look how narrow these steps are. Jeez Louise. Oof. I was actually more scared at this point than up there.
Yeah.
Eating lunch now with an incredible view.
At the seal spa.
At the seal spa. We can actually hear seals from here. Sometimes very faintly. I thought it was someone screaming at first. So, see that peak over there? We were just on top of that. We survived and we're in a safe haven now. Surrounded by nice bushes. Bay to protect me, commando style. And this little place all to ourselves. It's pretty good. On top of Mount Fortescue. After a long climb, me kind of dying. But look how pretty. The forest floor is so mossy. The early morning sun peeking through the treetops. It's pretty cold up here too.
While you watch us eat, we'll take you through some of our highlights and lowlights of the track. To start off with, the highlights. The views that you get from the capes and the blade are amazing. Some of the best we've ever seen, and given that there's only a limited number of people that are allowed to walk the track, you never feel crowded or feel pressure to have to keep moving. For an overnight hike with no running water or electricity, the facilities and accommodation were very clean and we always felt really comfortable.
Although the whole track had amazing views, we'd have to say that the blade was our favourite. A narrow rock column which leads you straight to the top of a cliff hundreds of meters from the ocean below. As you heard previously, I'm extremely afraid of heights, and this was a real challenge of getting over this fear as you're so close to the edge all the time at the top. My knees were weak and there was definitely a bit of vertigo, but I survived and lived to tell this tale. And now for the lowlights. So since the walkers were quite well spread out along the track, we didn't get to see the exact same things as other people did. At the end of the day, we heard people say, "We saw dolphins, orcas, and whales in the water." But we never got to see them until the last day, but far, far away in the distance. I was also really keen to see a snake because there were beware of snake warnings everywhere along the track. Unfortunately, I did not see one and was quite disappointed.
My biggest low light was completely my fault, and I want to stress no fault of the actual track. Most of the last day was a descent, and I carelessly misstepped and hyperextended my knee on the way down. Luckily, the swollenness and pain didn't set in till that night, but I couldn't walk at all the next day and was pretty much hobbling on Fiona for the rest of the trip. Our biggest learning on the track was that we definitely overpacked. We packed way too much clothing. We definitely didn't need a fresh set of clothes every day, given that you become sticky and sweaty pretty quickly anyway, so re-wearing clothes is fine. We also didn't pack the right kind of food. We packed a lot of canned food, which was bulky, and given that we had to take the cans back, just ended up taking up unnecessary space.
What we wish we had more of were the John West tuna pockets or salmon pockets, where it was a ready-made meal in a plastic pouch with tuna or salmon, rice, black beans, etc. There are many different flavors you can choose from, so it definitely ticked all the boxes in terms of nutrition, taste, and lightweight packaging. Rice and packet instant noodles in soft packaging also served us really well. In the mornings, we found that oat porridge and Belvita breakfast biscuits were sufficient to start our day, and the packaging waste were minimal. When I got hungry on the trek, having peanut butter was a great energy pick-me-up, as well as fruit and nut bars and trail mixins. Remember that Ziploc bags are your best friends. All the above-mentioned foods can be pre-prepared in Ziploc bags, so you won't need to handle extra packaging. In terms of other tips, don't forget to pack and apply sunscreen every couple of hours. You are very much exposed to sun on most of the walk, and you don't want to come out of the hike looking like a cooked lobster. For the girls, and also probably guys, your down there area will feel a little icky after 4 days of only showering once. I would highly recommend bringing fem wipes or baby wipes to wipe down your entire body at the end of each day. We brought alcohol wipes thinking would be sufficient, but I definitely felt a little burning sensation. On the second day where you do have a shower, we were the first arrivals at the hut, hence we got to shower first. That was a great feeling and would really recommend it to you guys as well. Although we did like to set off early on each day, you actually have a lot of time to complete each day's kilometers, so don't feel the need to rush at all. Enjoy all the scenery and take in the stories at each story seat. The recommended time on the booklet you receive for each day's itinerary also caters for rest stops and walking at a very average pace. So do not fear that you will walk too slow or you can't spend too much time stopping and resting. I think the oldest hiker there was 70 years old, so if she can do it, you can definitely do it too. That track is where we're going to go all the way to Cape. I think it's this way. Maybe it's that way. I don't know, but that trail is where we're heading towards, I think. More descent, which means more ascent later on. Time to go back up this trail. And then that trail. Dun, dun, dun.
2,000 years later.
Oh, I think we made it. Did we make it?
Yeah.
Oh, not yet. We didn't make it, no. We made it. Finally. Like to get our bags before Fortescue Bay. We made it to the end of our walk, and this is Fortescue Bay. The sand looks really white and parts of the water look really clear. So we might go for a swim. Who knows? It's still pretty cold though. Sub 20 for sure. Probably around 17, my guess is. So that was the end of our 4-day hike across 50 kilometers. It was a great introduction to overnight hiking for me, and I would highly recommend it to all beginner or intermediate overnight hikers. Overall, we rate the experience a solid 4.5 out of 5, in light of the highlights and lowlights previously mentioned. The only additional thing I would mention is that we appreciate it could be considered expensive, as it costs $495 per person at full price, but there is a way to do around half of this track for free. Let's take a look at the map. You can actually start your journey at Fortescue Bay and make your ascent to Cape Hoy as a day trip. For those who don't mind actually camping in campsites, not the nice mountain huts that we got to stay in, then you can choose to continue on for a 3-day, 38-kilometer return hike to the Blade and Cape Pillar. So really, the only places you can't see will be the places during day 1 and 2 of the 3 Capes experience, which to be fair, aren't the highlights of the track anyways. The real loss is not being able to stay in the luxe mountain huts along the way. But hey, if you're on a budget and you're a regular camper, then this free way of experiencing the Tasman Peninsula is definitely for you.